We've been highlighting the wave of billionaires who are all getting out of the stock market this summer and buying gold. Well, now it's a trillionaire. Of course, he's not officially on top in the most wealthy lists, but that's because the Rothschilds have been experts in hiding their wealth for centuries. When Jacob Rothschild's great-great-great-grandfather, Meyer Amschel Rothschild, died in 1812, his will explicitly stated that no public inventory of his estate was to be published and that no legal action was to be taken with regard to the value of the inheritance. It's also been suggested that the Rothschilds used private, unrecorded, limited partnerships to accumulate wealth. You know, like all the ones in the Panama Papers. By the end of the 19th century, it was estimated that the Rothschild family controlled half the wealth of the world. No one can prove it, of course, but it seems likely. You can see their fingerprints on many current events. In fact, their family has likely caused and financed both sides of nearly every war since, and control virtually every central bank. And so when Jacob Rothschild says that he is buying gold because the central banks are out of control, you have to laugh. He and his family have been in control of the world's central banks for centuries. But he said it nonetheless. In his semi-annual address to shareholders of RIT Capital Partners, Jacob Rothschild announced that they are reducing stock market and currency exposure and increasing their gold holdings, and warns that the world is now in uncharted waters and that the consequences are impossible to predict. He stated, "The 6 months under review have seen central bankers continuing what is surely the greatest experiment in monetary policy in the history of the world. We are therefore in uncharted waters, and it is impossible to predict the unintended consequences of very low interest rates, with some 30% of global government debt at negative yields, combined with quantitative easing on a massive scale. It's not impossible to predict. There's going to be a gigantic crash." That's what Rothschild is telling us, and what our analysis of Shemitah and now Jubilee 2016 revealed to us. Financial disasters track these timelines, and Rothschild knows all about it. He's the best man to predict what is going to happen because he and other globalist elites have created the timeline of catastrophe that we regularly analyze and predict. And he's being clear that this timeline of catastrophe is moving ahead. For observers like us and you, he is stating the obvious, and others are making it clear as well. With just a month and a half until the end of the Jubilee year, very connected billionaires are warning that things are going horribly wrong. It's no coincidence. George Soros began to move heavily into gold a few months ago, and so did his buddy Crispin Odey. And now Jacob Rothschild himself is moving into gold. We're certain they already own tremendous sums of it, but he is buying even more now in the final days of Jubilee 2016. Rothschild and the others want us to believe they are concerned about this state of affairs. He's pretending he's making his move because he is worried. He's not worried. He knows what is going to happen. He helped plan it. They are acting concerned, but it's just an act. Rothschild, for instance, points out that despite central bank money printing boosting stock markets, this growth is detached from the real economy. In fact, he's basically warning that years of overprinting and 0% interest rates have destroyed economies around the world. This isn't just speculation on our part. It's not hypothetical. Globalist financial elites, and even now the super elites, are rushing into gold. They have the wherewithal to do it, but unfortunately others do not. It's estimated that 0.5% of the average American's portfolio has exposure to precious metals. And that is probably all they'll have left once Rothschild prepares to destroy the system he created in order to buy up everything at pennies on the dollar, like they did in 1929. If you haven't begun to get a significant portion of your assets outside of the financial system, which includes the banks, fiat currencies, and the overall stock market excluding gold stocks, you're preparing to play the victim. When Rothschild announces his own central banking system is in uncharted waters, in the greatest experiment in monetary policy in the history of the world, and moves into gold, you should be right behind him, or right in front of him, as we've been in the last few years. There are very few places that were built to help survive and profit from this very event. But this is what the Dollar Vigilante was built for, and we can help. We've written the ebook Getting Your Gold Out of Dodge, available for $44.95 or included with a subscription to the Dollar Vigilante, to help you easily invest in precious metals and internationalize them for protection without leaving the comfort of your own home. And we also have a private group for subscribers across the world who have already taken steps to protect themselves and are more than happy to help you. And our premium newsletter subscribers portfolio is up 200% in the last year, as we have predicted nearly everything that has been happening and is ongoing. We are now getting very close to a massive event. Most of the biggest globalist elites are not only warning about it, but moving into precious metals and mining stocks and out of the overall stock markets. Even just a few months ago, the bond manager of what was once the world's biggest bond fund had a dire prediction about what was going to happen. It's never been clearer, nor have you ever received more warning. Yet most people are not acting. Many are not even aware how close to the edge we are dancing. Stick with us here at the Dollar Vigilante, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and subscribe to the Dollar Vigilante newsletter at dollarvigilante.com/subscribe to make sure you aren't one of them. If for some reason you don't believe us, then believe what Rothschild is telling you.